Hi everyone, welcome back to my read-along of A Tale of Stars and Shadow. Today we are up to chapter 46. Let's jump straight into it. Okay, it's going to be a good one. Talyn looked up with a sigh of irritation at the loud knocking on her door. It was early evening. She'd just bathed and was relaxing with a book after the day's training. It was one she'd brought from home, an instructional book on advanced fighting techniques with a sigh. Reluctantly, she rose to open the door. If this was the Shadowhawk again, surely she'd given him the message clearly enough the other night. She wasn't going to risk further consequences for her wing by having anything to do with the Shadowhawk. If the Talyn wanted more information, they certainly hadn't asked her for it. "Theak," she said, surprised to find her second at the door instead. "What is it?" "I was hoping not to find you here," he said tersely. She lifted her eyebrows. "Where exactly did you hope to find me?" "With Prince Kewin." "Okay," Talyn was puzzled. "What's going on?" "He left the Citadel with a party of friends earlier today. He's gone to the Condor family retreat on Sparrow Island." She frowned. "Sparrow Island?" "It's a few hours' sail off the east coast. Most of the island is home to several hundred human Mithranians, but it also houses a private retreat belonging to the royal family." Theak was wearing his usual scowl, but Talyn sensed a note of something different in his voice. He was worried. "Did he take any falcons with him?" she asked. "No." "Does Ravania know?" "I've no idea, Captain. I only just heard." Theak hesitated. "Talyn sent a message to let me know." "Right. Well, there's no need to be concerned." She said the words for both their benefits. "There's no threat to Prince Kewin that we're aware of, and he's been unguarded most of the time I've been here." "Right," he nodded. Why hadn't Ravania told her? Why hadn't Kewin? They supposedly had a deal. He took a guard wherever he left the Citadel. Annoyance flickered, and she was tempted to tell Theak to go back to bed and leave the prince to his amusements. But then she remembered the Shadowhawk's visit. Weapons for 30 warriors. Warriors linked to a series of murders in Dock City. A month ago. Sari roused. "Plenty of time to put together an assassination plan, Tal." She shook her head. It was a crazy thought. "Yes, but he said it was humans who were murdered, and one at a time. That's a very different operating behavior. But Theak's here for a reason, and your instincts are screaming at you." "And a group of professionals tried to steal Azurdia from the Citadel," Talyn said. "You wouldn't need so many weapons if you had Azurdia and knew how to turn it into an explosive. But if you'd failed to steal some Azurdia, and the break-in, what if they learned they couldn't get into the palace, so they're trying the island instead?" Talyn shook her head. She was being overly paranoid. Even so, Sari was right. Her instincts were telling her something was off. She fought down the instinctive tide of panic with reason. She knew how to do this. "We'll take the wolves and go," she made the decision, nodding at Theak. "What's the quickest way for us to get out to Sparrow Island?" "By boat," he hesitated, clearly reading the disquiet in her face. "What is it, Captain?" "A few days ago, I was told that someone recently made a large weapons purchase in the Paw Quarter. Enough for 30 warriors." Theak's eyes widened. "Where is this information from?" "Someone I can't afford to ignore," Talyn said. He nodded. "That's good enough for me. Go and gather the wolves, not the new recruits. Arm up and meet me at the top of the wall walk. Quickly now." He left without a word. Talyn ran back inside her room, dropping the robe she wore and snatching a clean uniform from a drawer, dragging on her boots. She strapped and holstered her weapons as she ran full pelt for the top of the wall walk, almost barreling into a number of people in her headlong flight. She beat the wolves there and promptly began pacing, unable to keep still, failing to ignore her unease. There was no need for this. Kewin was just taking a trip, as usual not informing his guard. There was absolutely no reason to think any danger beckoned. Except the idea of 30 armed warriors out there. Kewin is the last member of the royal family any assassination team would go after, she tried to reassure herself. "Captain!" She spun, shoulders relaxing slightly at the sight of her wolves, then stiffening again when she spotted Talyn with them. His longbow and quiver hung down his back between his wings. "He's one of us." Zamrul spoke before she could get a word out. "And if there's a danger out there tonight, well, we're a team, Captain. Let him come." If she hadn't been so taken aback by Zamrul's heated plea on Talyn's behalf, she might have refused quickly and firmly. Instead, she shifted her gaze to the winged man. He regarded her steadily. "I'll do whatever you order, Captain." She hesitated. "Are you on duty at the moment?" "Not until tomorrow afternoon." "Fine, you're in." She turned. "Halun, we're going to need a boat. A fast one." "I know just the one," he said, life animating him at her approval of Talyn. Don't worry, Captain. I'll get us there as soon as humanly possible. What about the falcons? Theak asked. She hesitated. I don't have any evidence that something is wrong, and if there is, I don't want to waste time trying to convince Ravenir. Besides, after the incident with Mathanas and Iceflight, it had become blindingly clear how little influence or capability Ravenir had. Theak's voice dropped. You don't trust him. I don't trust anyone other than us. She stepped back and raised her voice. Come on, let's get moving. Halun, you lead the way. Corrin hesitated. We've never fought before, Captain. And you likely won't have to tonight. But you said you wanted to stick around and be a wolf. She kept her voice brisk. This is what it means. Now hurry. Halun led them in a swift jog out to the dock quarter, taking them to where the smaller private boats were moored. Eventually he stopped outside the door of a narrow house, one of a cluster along a sandy street. The man inside runs a business trading supplies up the east coast. He's not always legal with what he carries, but he's the best sailor I know, and he's got a fast, reliable boat, Halun explained, one eyebrow raised in question. Fine, Talyn nodded. He thumped loudly on the door. A few moments later, it swung open to reveal a short man with a slight paunch and thinning brown hair. We need you to take us on a run, Lifer, Halun said. Right now. I just came back a couple of hours ago. I'm not going back out for another 2 days, he shrugged. I can take you then, if you like, but it'll cost you. Halun nodded amiably, as if accepting what the sailor was telling him. Then, with a move as fast as lightning, he reached out and grabbed the man by his shirt collar, hauling him bodily out of the door. There was a tearing sound as the cloth ripped. You're going on another run, tonight, and you're taking us with you. No charge, orders direct from Prince Kewin. Halun showed teeth. Agreed? He tightened his hold on the man's clothes until he squeaked in agreement. At that, Halun let go. Lifer promptly dropped to the ground, then scrambled to his feet with an ingratiating smile. Chatty tonight, aren't we, Halun? Where are you going? Sparrow Island, Theak barked. As fast as you can get us there. Lifer nodded. It'll take a couple of hours, depending on the wind. I also need to worry about rocks once it gets dark. Theak said, just get us there fast. Talyn moved in front of her a second before his bad temper provoked Lifer into refusing to help. I know it's late and cold, but trust me when I say we wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't of the utmost importance. We really need your help. He stared at her for a moment, jaw clenched. I owe you all one anyway, from the night of the floods. I'm tired is all. Haven't slept in a couple of days. Then you should lay off the illegal leather trading, my friend, Zamril grinned, clapping him on the back, restoring the light mood. What, and go straight like you lot? Lifer snorted. It has its benefits, Zamril winked at Halun, who smiled. The boat was small, but sleek and well kept. The wolves piled into the back while Lifer put up the sail and undid the mooring rope. Luck was with them. The wind blew steadily from the south, pushing the little boat along at a good speed. Lifer guided the boat out of the bay and then up along the eastern coastline, his eyes constantly roving the water for rocks. Talyn ran her eyes over the wolves. They looked calm enough, though Zamril's fists were clenched and Corrin was staring at his boots. Her own fear stirred, raising the spectre of doubt. Nearly 2 years now since she'd fought in a real battle. The break-in at the Citadel didn't count. She didn't have the battle sharpness she'd once had, and Sari's death had ruined all her supreme confidence in one blinding moment. What if she froze again? Theak's gaze shifted to hers, eyebrow raised, and she looked away. A quarter turn into the journey, just as Lifer began tacking away from the coast and out into the ocean, it started to rain. At first it was a light drizzle, then became slowly heavier, turning into a steady downpour. Lifer rigged up a tarpaulin over the back of the boat to keep them dry, then rummaged in a locker for his wet weather gear. Theak relayed Talyn's information to the wolves in quick, blunt terms. All eyes flicked to her, one by one. Tearslin shifted. Captain, you don't think the Azurdia... It's a leap, she said. But there's a possibility, if an attack of some sort is being planned, that the same people who are looking to get their hands on the Azurdia. And work out how easy it would be to get into the palace, Zamril added. You think an assassination team is going after Prince Kewin, don't you? I think it's one of many possibilities of what those weapons might be for, and not the likeliest one, she said. But we're his protective guard, so we don't take chances. The wolf sat in silence. Talyn wavered between confidence that she was worrying over nothing, that she was being overcautious in heading out to this island in the middle of the night, and fear that her instincts weren't wrong, that something was going to happen and that Kewin was facing danger without her there. Ultimately, no matter what else had happened in Mithranar, no matter her calendar mission or training the wolves, her one and only job as a Kingshield guard was to keep a member of the Dinmorix family safe. When terror of failing in that mission threatened to overcome her, she switched to worrying about the wolves instead. If the worst happened, they'd never faced a real fight before. Would they stand firm and fight as they'd been trained? Or would they panic and forget everything under the pressure of having their lives in danger? It could go either way. And a layer game was one thing. Having someone come at you with a sharp blade intent on killing you, the smell of blood and screams of pain, that was something else entirely. We're not far now, Lifa shouted, jolting her from her thoughts. It's just around this headland. I don't usually go anywhere near it because of the falcon patrols, but the family has a small dock for their private boats. I'll take you in and drop you off. Don't wait around, Theak told him. Drop us off and get out of here. His eyes flickered nervously between them. Is there something going on? Probably not, Theak glanced at Talyn. His gruff confidence reassured her. But it's best to be safe. She looked ahead through the curtain of falling rain. We'll be fine. All right, that's the end of chapter 46. As always, if you'd like to avoid spoilers, now's the time to jump out before I start on my author commentary. If you are leaving here, then I hope you enjoyed this chapter. I hope you're waiting with bated breath for the next one because it's going to get exciting very quickly. I'm really looking forward to it, and I look forward to seeing you then. But if you are sticking around, let's have a little chat about this chapter. All right, we are on the home stretch now. This is the chapter that is the beginning of the climactic events of this book. I can't wait to keep going, to be honest with you. Reading this through from the beginning has been more enjoyable than even I thought it would be, and I just can't wait for what's coming up in the next couple of chapters. We start this one with Theak showing up at Talyn's door in the evening with the information that Prince Kewin's head off to the royal retreat on Sparrow Island to have a good time. Didn't take any falcons with him, didn't take the wolves with him despite his promise to Talyn, which is typical Kewin's behaviour, but also if you think about it, the fact that Talyn blew off the Shadowhawk so recently, he's in no mood to do what Talyn wants, and he's probably one of the other factors into the reasoning of him not taking the wolves along with him despite having promised to do so. Talyn has a good instinct for when things aren't quite right, even if there's no real reason to believe things aren't well. I mean, there's no threats to Kewin. Kewin hasn't come under attack throughout Talyn's time with Rhaenyra, apart from the weird events of the Citadel break-in, where there was someone outside his tower, even though they didn't seem to be posing a threat. So there's no real evidence to suggest anything nefarious is going on here. Kewin takes these trips regularly. He hasn't come under attack before. There's no reason to think he will now. But her little spidey senses are tingling, particularly after the information that the Shadowhawk gave her about the large weapons order at the Smith down in Dock City. It's a massive leap to go from that to something happening to Kewin. And Talyn understands that, but as I said before, she has a good radar for when things aren't quite right. And irrespective of whether it has anything to do with those weapons, she knows they need to get out there. Theak trusts that immediately, and so the wolves head off. Yeah, I won't say too much more because I won't spoil what's happening next in the next few chapters. Apart from to say Talyn's in a really interesting position here. She knows they might be going into danger, even though the rational side of her is saying there's no real reason to suspect that. Her instincts are telling her this could be bad, and from a number of fronts, this makes her unsettled. The first, she hasn't been in a fight since the battle where Sari was killed. The only instances she's kind of brushed with being in a fight since, she's either hesitated or frozen or made reckless decisions. So she knows her track record isn't necessarily great if they are about to walk into something dangerous, and she's worried that she's going to freeze again or make the wrong decisions or lead to someone else dying that she cares about, which segues into her worry for the wolves. She's trained them impeccably. They clearly know what they're doing. They're very well trained in terms of their combat skills and their fitness and stamina and strength and all that sort of stuff. But the reality of actually being in a battle versus training for one is different, which she knows from experience. And so she also has that worry about if they are about to walk into something, how are they going to hold up? And are they going to be able to do their jobs? And she worries about that too. So a lot of worries on Talyn's mind as they go into this. But yeah, I'll cap it there. If you have any questions or comments on this chapter, please drop them in the comments below. I'd love to chat more about it. Very happy to. Otherwise, I'm very excited to get to the next chapter, and I'll see you guys then. Have a great day.